I wanted everybody to react to this because I thought that it actually showed a positive side of Tim Walz. We talked about him a lot and we were speculating, okay, as he's trying to distance himself from Kamala Harris, will he have what it takes to really win over people who are, skeptical about him? Is he going to be able to deal with the fact that he looked pretty bad on the debate stage? Is he going to be able to deal with the fact that the Republicans went really hard trying to smear him and slander him? Today, we get a taste of how he's going to respond, how he's going to react. And I'd be really interested to get chat's thoughts as well as yours, Gavin, on how everyone feels like he did, turning this room that started off pretty tough on the guy. He was getting a lot of boos and heckles. Oops, hold on one second.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Well,
it's tough to hear, but they're saying you didn't stand up for veterans. You're a coward.
Well, welcome to the Capitol. It's great that you're all. Sir, you're welcome to come. Let me finish. Let me finish and vote. Shut your fucking mouth. Oh, hey, there's some passion in the building, which is good.
These fucking idiot pieces of shit protesting him are accusing him of stolen valor, but then they want to call him out for referencing Donald Trump's Bone Spur episode, which is actually fucking a disgrace to anyone who served, and actually a fucking disgrace considering Donald Trump's commentary about how, oh, I prefer the ones that didn't get caught, and, besmirching the fucking families of Gold Star veterans, right?
And John McCain, who suffered like a motherfucker.
And John McCain. That's what I referenced.
Yeah, no, I know.
That didn't get caught, right? That was what that was in reference to. So these pieces of shit protesting, who may or may not even be real fucking protesters, it might just be a GOP funded bullshit to make it look like, oh, see, the whole country doesn't hate Trump. There's also people showing up to town halls who love Trump, right? These people, they want to act like bone spurs is somehow an issue. Meanwhile, this guy actually did fucking serve in the National Guard. Like, that makes no sense at all. How could you be more like, I get not loving Tim Walz as much as we do, but if your issue is the whole stolen valor thing, at least the dude actually did serve in some capacity, unlike Donald Trump, who literally used his rich daddy to get out of ever having to be drafted based on a total fucking lie. Meanwhile, he was getting laid in New York City.
Oh yeah, and Tim Walz also incidentally supports the bill that would give more funding to veterans.
Look, we got an opportunity here. We've got an opportunity to continue something.
So different than the I'm speaking approach, by the way.
True.
This group, and I'm going to give the credit to it, the Commander's Task Force of the organizations came to this Capitol, and with this administration, we said, before we decide how we're going to do budgets, in good years and bad years, we are going to do veterans issues first. We're going to remove them from the political discussion, and we will not balance budgets or pit veterans against children, transportation, and seniors, and we will fund them according to the needs. That has happened 6 years in a row.
Hell yeah.
This collective work, bipartisanly, nearly unanimously, has put historic amounts of money into veterans issues. We are going to become the fifth state and the largest state to eliminate veterans homelessness in this state. We have opened more veterans homes and veteran cemeteries than any other state in the union.
It looks like he keeps like looking up at like a fly buzzing around or something. You notice that? He's like,
I think there might be people on the wrap.
On
the
wrap
around at the Capitol building. So he's trying to speak to the people who are on the second floor.
I was like, what is there a fucking like bee buzzing around?
Not Mike Pence on the debate stage.
And when I served as the ranking member, we put in federally more money than had ever been put into the VA system. And when I sat on that committee and we got the federal money for these homes, I cautioned every one of you and everyone in here, if you build these veterans homes, you must fund them every single year to the needs that are there. You have 3 budgets out there. And when House members stand here,
deistic
they
pride
do
was it
not
this?
fund it.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, shout out to you, Deistic Pride. You let us know in chat. Did he successfully win over most of the people in attendance? It sounds like at first people were quiet. They weren't sure. There were a lot of boos. You could definitely hear them. But the boos are definitely drowned out by the cheers and the applause by the end of this video. Shout
Also,
out to you.
if you see the other angle, I'm not sure. This is the one that was going around on Twitter because it made it just look like he was booed by more people. We can throw this up after this is over. It seems like it was just a group of like provocateurs essentially that kind of showed up. It's not like the whole fucking crowd was against him or anything.
No, and I think it's actually really poignant that as Doge, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump are actually trying to lay off workers from the VA, they're trying to downsize the VA, they're trying to reduce the overall, number of workers by I think 20%, 15%, an astronomical amount of VA workers. Yet these people are coming and protesting Tim Walz, a man who has always put VA funding at the top of his priority list.
Yeah. And again, here's these people, these like fucking jackasses with signs that are talking about like stolen valor and shit. Like, again, if you have an issue with fucking Tim Walz's actual policies, that's fine. But like, the stolen valor thing is so fucking dumb
and easy to debunk. As somebody in our chat who was in the military has been multiple times saying that obviously it was a rank he earned.
Yeah, 100%. And then he just retired before they actually, before he actually completed the paperwork or some stupid shit like that.
Well, yeah, and this person says that you can go up and down a rank after you've retired. It doesn't mean that you didn't earn it, and you're not allowed to refer to yourself in that capacity. I can't.
Well, there was some weird thing about like how there was technically one step of like one test or piece of paperwork that he technically never completed before he retired. So like, I forget what it was, but there was one specific title that he was using that apparently like he had not quite finished completing. It was like a total technicality, but nothing that anyone that's actually in the military world would ever actually care about.
Yeah, and to be honest, as you made clear, pretty ridiculous to make that a big deal when you're supporting Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah, it would be one thing if the guy he was running against was like John McCain, because no one could take John McCain's military service away from him. Then you could be like, wow, this guy actually went to Vietnam. Meanwhile, Tim Walz didn't even deploy. But Tim Walz has definitely had more military experience than Donald Trump's military experience, which is fucking zilch.
Yeah, just draft dodging.
Yeah.
To the need that's there. We're going to have a debate. But I've made it clear, I will compromise with you on the budget. I will not compromise in the space of the veterans issues. We are going to fund them to where they need to be.
Winning them over.
Those of us who stand here, much of the veterans budget is funded by the federal government. Much of the benefits we get are federal employees, veterans themselves. 83,000 of them are going to be laid off and fired. Well, some of you voted for it. So we need...
Boom. Turn that shit around on the people who are booing him. That's exactly the part that I wanted to get to. See, he has the heat. He has the heat right here. He's like, you guys came, you're going to boo me. You're going to accuse me of stolen valor. I'm going to tell you I funded the VA. He wants to lay off 84,000 workers, 84,000 people. Okay, that's not Tim Walz. That's not governor of Minnesota. That's Donald J. Trump, president of the United States. The same people that these guys right here in this clip are simping for. All right, pretty great moment for Walz.
To come up here and say that's not what I voted for. That's the same thing here. I don't give a damn what your politics are across the board, but how the hell we got into an issue where we weren't unified about taking care of our veterans. And for 6 years in a row as governor, we passed nearly unanimous budgets of historic proportion to care for our veterans. That's because you walked in this building, you checked the partisanship at the door, and you said you don't get to stand here and talk about veterans and go back into the back rooms and cut the money from them. You don't get to stand here and say you support the veterans and underfund what they need. You don't get to sit here and pretend like you're taking care of them when at the end of the day, are you taking care of them and paying the benefits they earn? Are you taking care of them and building those homes and letting them live in dignity? Are you putting in a veteran cemetery that needs to be cared for from now till the end of time and making it like they are in Minnesota, ranked the best in the country? That didn't happen. That didn't happen without this. What changed here is veterans got together. The Commanders Task Force got together. You hire Trent Dilf, who kicks ass on these things, and bring him up here. And you put people in leadership up here who, just like I did in Congress, work side by side with my Republican colleagues to deliver on this. So if you want to fight social issues, if you want to fight issues on transportation or who the hell uses a bathroom, go fight them. But if you want to fight for veterans, come in here, get behind the right budget, and pass it. That's what we need to do. You earned it. They earned it. We have a responsibility to deliver it. We've done it 6 years in a row. I don't know why we wouldn't do it this year. So you need to demand, before we balance this budget, pass the Veterans Omnibus, get it done. Then you can go home unless you want to come back and fight on the other issues. Thank you all. Stand firm on this issues. Let's get it done.
Ooh. Ooh. And some people are like, I don't understand why you guys are so much more into Tim Walz than Kamala Harris. Like, that's why. Like, imagine Kamala doing that. Imagine Kamala doing that. Instead, what'd she actually do when confronted by protesters? As you said, Zach, excuse me, I'm speaking. Like, that was what she did. And then only after getting ruthlessly destroyed on Twitter for it did she have to, take a different approach, a different tact when it happened again. But Tim Walz actually knows how to deal with these people. That was glorious. The only thing that pisses me off, Zach, is that I think that, this was what was going around specifically on Elon Musk's Twitter yesterday. And I worry that, God damn it. I worry that, this is what most people's impression of the whole, interaction will be, right? Because I saw a bunch of these tweets from a bunch of right-wing bots. Holy crap, Tim Walz just got ruthlessly heckled and booed. You're a coward. Shut your mouth. You sympathize with China. And then they just play the clip of the heckling and none of Tim Walz's epic response, which I think would sway a lot of actual people who would agree with any of these smears, right? But again, I just worry that a lot of people, including everyone on Fox, who I'm sure they played this clip for, only got to see, look at these veterans showing up to, protest against Governor Tim Walz.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I felt like it was so important that we covered it on our show, even though we're just a humble little show, 1,500 live viewers. We thought it was really important that you guys see that side of Tim Walz, because he had his B Rabbit moment. He had his Eminem and 8 Mile moment. They set him up for failure. He had a couple of guys that came in. They tried to put the easy slander on him, right? They tried to put you have stolen valor. You don't care about veterans. You are a liar. You don't put your money where your mouth is, right? And, it was, instead he was like, Ward, I think you went a little hard on the Beaver. You know what I mean? He completely used it and flipped it against him. He said, you want to talk about my record when it comes to veterans? Let's look at the last 6 years. Let's look at the fact that I always put veterans first. I never leverage them against other issues. And a couple of people in chat said, why is he bringing this kind of energy for veterans and not for other issues? He 100% brought that issues when it came to children, and he knows when to bring that heat because he knows when it's really popular with Americans to do that. That's him being an effective politician. In America, you have to support the veterans if you want to win. You cannot win if you do not win over the hearts of Americans. We're too thoroughly propagandized. I'm sorry if you don't like it. It's very smart politics to do what he did right there. And also, all those guys got fucked. They did get fucked out of their, they got sent to the most horrible places on earth. They thought they were doing the right thing. There was no internet when a lot of these guys went off. A lot of these guys got drafted to fucking Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? These people were poor. They didn't have a choice. We have to take care of them, especially those old men that fought in World War II and the Vietnam War. These guys did bad shit. They were fucked up for their entire lives because of it. But guess what? We made them do it, and we have to take accountability for that. And I think that's what Tim Walz represents right there. And I think the fact that he was able to present to them the reality, stone cold, the guy that you're out here protesting on behalf of, the guy that you're doing the bidding for, that guy wants to cut 84,000 VA jobs. He was like, me? I want to make sure that it's funded, and we're the number one state for funding veterans in this country. We're the number one state for building small homes for them. We do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to continue to do that because I don't care that you're protesting me. I'm going to do what's right for veterans. I'm looking out for you. Now you come back here and you make sure that we get this done because I want to continue to work with you guys. I'm not angry that you came here and you exercised your First Amendment. I know you're on my team because my team is fighting for veterans. Taking these agent provocateurs, if they are, maybe they're, just misled people that are acting of their own volition. We don't fucking know, right? We have no way of knowing. Let's assume they are. Let's assume the best. I think that if they're acting genuinely, there is at least a 50-50 chance that Tim Walz took the most ardent opposition and made them a supporter of him in that moment. And that's what it takes to be president of the United States.
Yeah. let's hope that people actually get to hear what Tim had to say. That's my only fear, is that no one will.
At least those gentlemen that were there did. They didn't have a choice.
For sure.
Because you can't just give in to Fox News framework. Obviously, they're going to butcher every great moment that Tim Walz has. What we can do is we can uplift that excellent moment, and we can talk about how there's a reason they don't let him respond.
No, I'm not saying I agree with that. I just mean, like, I do worry that all these smears just adding up on Tim Walz. Like, even I was shocked during the actual election season, like how many of these smears against him actually seemed to stick. Like, I thought none of them would. All of this stupid shit about his military stuff and him going to China with his wife or whatever the fuck and students. Like, I thought it was all bullshit, but people did seem to, like, it did stick in a way that I wasn't expecting it to. So that's all I mean. Like, I hope this kind of stuff just doesn't continue to stick to him, because obviously here on the Vanguard, we know the truth about who Tim Walz is, but not everyone watches the Vanguard.
Oh, I know. But I just think if we participate in this wider effort, and also I think Tim Walz is making a clear effort also to not roll over on these things. He was pretty quiet about it on the campaign trail. He didn't respond directly to a lot of the attacks made against him. I didn't feel like he was really his raw self, as we've kind of criticized a bunch. I think him coming out here and being like, do not fucking play with me on these veterans issues. I have always stood up for veterans. I'll put my fucking record against anybody's. Let's go to the mattresses about that. That is the energy that he needs to embody, because it's his only shot at piercing through the right-wing propaganda machine, which is obviously going to try and smear him at every turn.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.